Hi there, welcome back to a new update on CCIV. We're seeing good movements today with CCIV. The stock price is up by about 2%, and we actually do have that new update to talk about from Lucid Motors. So again, all of that is coming up in this video. We're looking at how the stock has been moving. We're taking a look at the charts. We're giving some of my thoughts and opinions and all that kind of stuff in this video. If you may enjoy, do make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe, but do also remember that I am not a financial advisor and this video does not consist of financial advice. It is just my personal opinions. So do not take it as facts. And again, when we talk about deliveries for CCIV Lucid Motors, things could change. This is just what my personal opinions are. Look at the company now and going forwards. But yes, obviously if you may enjoy, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at N2S Finance. It's pretty easy to find. I should probably leave a link to that in the description. And on top of that, you can also join us on Patreon. We do now have a Patreon. The link to that is already in the description. So you can join us on that for a small amount per month. Again, you don't have to, but if you can, it would be appreciated. So now we're going to jump into the video and look at how Lucid Motors stock has been moving most recently. So we're going to start off here on the more simple charts because this tells us the story in a very easy to understand way. So when we have a look on these more simplified charts, we are seeing some good action for CCIV today. We have seen it open up at 9.30 on a price of 22.93. After that, we plummeted down until here. This took us to a price of about 22.49, so it wasn't too bad, but it was a drop. This ended about 10.46. From there, we saw a big increase in price, taking us up to 12:30 in the afternoon. This brought us to highs of the day, which were actually at 23.58, and then we finished off the day on 23.42. So again, we gained only 46 cents today, but we were up by 2%, so you can see it is still a moderate increase. Past 5 days is looking okay for the stock. We are up. We start off the Wednesday of last week on a price of about $22.66, so you can see that we've gained almost $1 in the past 5 days, so not too bad at all. The past month is looking fantastic for CCIV. We saw this big increase in price, bringing us from a previous point where we've sat for quite a while at about the $19 range. So we were sat at 19, we broke out of that up to the 20s. We hit a high up here of about $26 to $27, and from that $27 point we actually have fallen down a bit, which makes sense. You know, people are going to be taking profits here and there, and then we remain stable, consolidating between the $23 range and actually down to the $22 range, I would say. And again, today we are seeing some decent movement, and we could be seeing a big breakout very soon for the stock for multiple reasons. And again, we'll be looking at those factors in just a moment. But first, we're going to have a quick focus on the actual more technical charts for CCIV. So simply put, if we look over here, if it will refresh, we can see how things have been moving. Again, we'll look at this one on the 5-day chart starting us off, where we can see that basically the moving average rather, for this one over the past 5 days has been $23.21. And again, it is increasing as you would expect, but there we go. So we are doing a little bit better than the moving average, but not by too much at all, which isn't too bad. When we look at the RSI, we can see an RSI figure down here, which is sat at about 61, so it's not too bad either. It's also a little bit towards the upside, but again, it's definitely not towards the overbought side, in my opinion, as overbought would be at 80, and right now we are only at 61, so you can imagine we're not overbought right now on the 5-day chart, in my opinion, but there we go. And if we look over here to what we are seeing on the MACD, if that interests you, we can see a number down here, which is reading, from what I can tell, 0.1. So again, MACD isn't moving too bad. If we do zoom in on that, you can see I'm still pretty happy on how it has been moving overall with the stock, and I'm happy to see that as well. So when we move into the 1-day chart, we can see a moving average figure, like I did mention, a little bit similar at 23.38. Again, this is pretty close to where the stock price is right now. We've seen a bit of a decrease most recently towards the end of day. So again, that is evident here towards the end of the chart, where we can see that the price is actually coming a little bit closer to that moving average, but there we go. We are also seeing a RSI figure today of 53 towards the end of the day. So finished on an RSI of 53, not too bad at all. Again, as you can imagine, 20 is towards the oversold side, 80 is towards the overbought side, 50 would be pretty neutral, and 53 you can imagine, yes, it is ever so slightly towards a more overbought side, but I would still consider that very, very neutral. So we're not seeing too bad action today from the RSI. MACD down there you can see is reading pretty neutral as well. So not bad action for the price for this stock over the past day. Again, I do expect this one to see slow and steady growth going forwards into that merger, and from that merger onwards, people will be aware that they are investing in Lucid Motors rather than just some SPAC company, and I think that could also have its benefits long term. There are some benefits to get into the stock pre-merger potentially, but I think that long term this one could see bigger growth. So I'm seeing some slow and steady growth in my opinion leading up until the merger, but until that, I think that we still could see some decent movement afterwards as well. But here we have this article from Cciv Tech, which actually reads bullish options order flow and a new price prediction timeline, or a new production timeline rather, update from Lucid Motors. Churchill Capital Corp CCIV shares may finally be primed for a bull run. So this company apparently believes in good things for CCIV Lucid Motors too. It basically reads down here that Lucid Motors is set to go public in July of 2021, is merging with the SPAC called CCIV, which we already know. In the meantime, SPAC option order flows have remained overwhelmingly tilted towards the bullish side, suggesting that a persistent pattern bias, or at least a bullish bias, amongst investors ahead of the Lucid Motors much anticipated public flotation. So basically, from what I can tell, it says that investors are pretty bullish on CCIV. And again, this is often the case leading up until mergers, not so much in the past few months, but before that, we have seen quite a hot SPAC season, to be honest, where people got big into SPACs, and in that time period we saw big growth before mergers, sometimes afterwards, but generally speaking we did see a bit of a sell-off, after those mergers have happened. Now, obviously CCIV has found itself in a different position to those stocks in my opinion, in the sense that these other stocks have seen price valuations of $50, $60 pre-merger, so they were bound to take a hit after the merger had happened. Now, CCIV is in the $20 range. Some people may say that's a bit high. I do not believe so. So I think there is still some room to go for this one, both pre and after the merger. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. But we can see down here the option order flow sentiment. And again, this is the 5-day average. This is a 30-day average. And you can see the amount of contracts which are bullish on this one. Obviously, that is a good thing in my opinion. When looking at the current date and the current date total, basically, and the 5-day average and the 30-day average. So good stuff in my opinion, I do believe. We can see down here another pattern which basically reads the open interest for expiration CCIV. This is 23rd of July 2021. So again, this is around the time of the merger potentially. We can see the amount of call options that have happened down here. Obviously, all of the ones which are in yellow are the calls. The ones which are in the blue colour are the puts. We can see clearly an overwhelmingly high number of calls have been bought in opposition to puts. So again, people are pretty bullish on this stock from what the numbers do say. And again, we did have this piece of information down here. If you can read it, hopefully you can. It basically reads, if I do read it out, it says that as of June 2021, Lucid Motors has completed the pre-production builds and has started the production quality validation builds of the Lucid Air, and this week it is opening its flagship NYC studio in the Meatpacking, I believe that is, district, with the company's new Chicago studio already open as of June the 11th. So basically, Lucid Motors approaches the launch of the Lucid Air in the second half of 2021. The company also anticipates strong demand for its products. Lucid recently passed 10,000 paid reservations, which is groundbreaking for the Lucid Air. So we can see 10,000 paid reservations. This is looking good for Lucid Motors. If 10,000 people really are buying this car for a price of like $69,000, which I believe is the starting price for the business, which is really good for the company, obviously, to buy the car at that price. So again, a lot of orders for this one, so people really are anticipating it. You can see down here that including the fully reserved Dream Edition as well, the Grand Touring Edition, and both the Touring and Pure versions as well. As enabled by the capital and financial flexibility available upon the business combination with Churchill Capital Corp IV, including the PIP PE, I believe that is, Lucid plans to accelerate approximately $350 million of planned capex investment for the future periods into 2021 to 2023 and otherwise enhance manufacturing capabilities by expanding upon overall capex investments by up to 6 to 7% during 2021 through to 2026. The various investments would enable the company to accelerate additional manufacturing capacity for the Lucid Air and capitalize on demand and employment and a dedicated Lucid Gravity General Assembly line. Provides 2.7 million square feet of additional manufacturing space by 2023, enabling increased production of Lucid Air capacity up to approximately 53,000 vehicles per year, which is a big number, to be honest, when we think about this one. So if they can actually come through with that, if they can produce that many vehicles in the future, it would be a really good thing to see. And again, the whole piece of information does read similar for the majority of it, so it is pretty good. It also talks down here about improving the production flexibility between the Lucid Air and Lucid Gravity, as well as for specific vehicle variants. So this is good. Again, going forwards into the future, as they do intend to produce more vehicles, we can see the actual benefits that the company is thinking of working on to make the process easier and to make production faster and to ramp up production as well. So this is really good. I think Lucid Motors, if they can get this car out this year, if they can produce it at the time that they say they can, if they do have as many orders as they say that they do, things are looking good in my opinion. So overall, would I consider Lucid Motors a buy right now? I think CCIV stock definitely could be a buy right now. From where I am standing, I do not think that the stock of CCIV is overvalued. I understand that some people might think that it is because it's $23 for a SPAC that has not had its merger yet, but I think CCIV, if this was only a few months ago in January, February, this stock would have been about $60, $70 because a lot of these, SPAC electric vehicle stocks back in that time were valued very, very highly. And again, this stock was actually one of them. We can see it rallied up to about $58 purely on rumors of the merger happening. And again, it was far from the merger actually happening, but it got valued that high. So yes, it crashed down and it has been stable between the $19 range, I would say, up to about the $23, $24 range for the past few weeks and months. So I'm not too concerned about the price of Lucid Motors stock right now. I think this one could actually be seen as a decent bargain. Again, I also see the downsides. I also see the skepticism because as of current, the product is not in place. They are not producing the product. Well, they might be producing it, but they're not selling the product as of current. So I do see the skepticism that some people may have because it could potentially be a risk. But I think that CCIV does play some decent potential in my opinion. I think it definitely could be a decent buy. I think this one would be a decent hold in my opinion. So if I was looking to buy CCIV, I would be looking to hold this stock for the next few years. I think that is when we're going to see the majority of the benefit of it. I think this one could be a decent swing trade if you're looking to buy perhaps now and sell after the merger or after the car actually starts to come out. That could be a decent swing trade. But I think if we want to see the full benefit of this one, we're going to need to wait for the company to start selling more cars. I think we're going to need to wait as well for the company to build its revenue and also build up its product line. And again, we have already seen in the market right now, companies like Tesla, companies like NIO, actually succeed as, companies in this space. So it isn't impossible that a new company can come along and obviously disrupt the whole electric vehicle market. So I think there is a lot of potential here. I think the Lucid Motors car, the Lucid Air, is a great starting point. I think it's good what the company is doing, starting off on the more expensive side and working their way down. And the fact that 10,000 people have already put an order in for this interesting looking car, in my opinion, I think it is a good sign. That's just my thoughts, so share me yours down below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon, guys. Goodbye.